Welcome to another in our morning engagement. I think is what I like to call it today. It's Fantastic Friday. It's Family Friday, and it's all Gospel Friday. And as usual, we're here to make your morning experience one that is unique, it's different, and it is all about starting your day the right way. And of course, Mikey G is here. How are you, Mikey G?
Good morning, Lady Cordy Karen. And of course, I would say to you today is, as you say, a Good Friday. Yeah, we know today is not the Good Friday that the world celebrate, but it's a Good Friday because we are still here this morning. And happy to see Lady Elise as well. Good morning to Lady Elise in the same
Good
breath.
morning, good morning. Welcome to the breakfast hour. It is certainly a wonderful time to be alive. The morning started out a little on the wet side here in the Grand Cayman. We had some early morning rains in Georgetown, but it did not last. We might have a few rains throughout the day because it certainly doesn't look cloudy. We need to check with our weather service to see what's happening on the island. But I'm telling you, it is a beautiful morning. I am happy to be here spending this morning with my favorite people. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? It's the end of the week, and God knew what He was doing when He prepared for us the Sabbath. How was your week so far, Mikey G?
Oh yes, as I said earlier, I was having a backstory, that conversation. It was a very interesting one. Lots to do, and it leaves me tired on Friday, and I'm not done yet. The day is still a little bit off for me to still get a few things in there. It's a long week, and of course, Flashpoint and everything else is really taking the time, and of course, lots of work in the background of doing what we do. So yes, it has been a busy week, but God has been blessing us in so many ways. He has provided, and we look and see the miracles being happening one after the other. Each time we think that something else is happening, God provides again, and it changes. And let me tell you, it is an amazing thing. So this morning, the breakfast hour is all about giving thanks to the Almighty God for all that He has done, not just because He's our go-to person, but because of who He is, despite of who we are. He loves us no matter how obnoxious we are, but we have to also remember that obedience is the thing to be.
Yeah, Mikey G, as you said that it's amazing that we celebrate what God has done for us and continues to do for us. And unfortunately, there are some persons who don't really understand it. And I'm saying it in the context that in September alone, there were 3 incidents of persons who gave up, who decided that they weren't worth the effort of being around. And so for the families, we certainly want to extend condolences. And also, as you talk about mental health and mental care, it is something that continues to be a struggle in our society. And it is those anchors that sometimes keep us, and I dare say, I would say more so keep us, because it is in knowing that you're important, it is in knowing that you're valued, that reminds us that you're here. God placed you here for a purpose, and that He desires to do wonderful things with us. So as we start this morning, it is in an atmosphere of giving thanks, of acknowledging who our God is and why He has brought us here. We may not always get it right, but knowing that He's still walking and working on us is enough to keep us motivated and to remind us that it's not always going to be sunshine.
Sunshine is not some rain. It's as Lily said this morning. This morning is on a little bit more on the rainy side in the Grand Cayman this morning. but the sun will shine as well. But you know what?
Absolutely.
The real thing about rainfall is that the farmers do need that rain. And so the balance between rainfall and sunshine is a very delicate balance that is necessary for crops to grow. I would see it as the same principle of our lives, that while we are going through crisis, it's building character and building stamina for what is to come. And so I will use those times when it's not so nice to build. It's like saying, if you are somebody who have an athlete who wins all your race, and then one day that somebody run against you and you lost, and you saw that person celebrating how much they win, you wonder why are they celebrating like that? Because I win all the time, and that's the point. The point is, persons who do not know what it means to win and who's winning all the time don't never usually experience the joy of winning. But those who never win and then get the opportunity to do so, it's a joyous and exciting moment, and they would celebrate for days. And it is sometimes looked on and frowned on because they don't understand it. And so this is where we are. When we lose so much,
that the experience is very personal, because the person who lost would have realized that there is somebody else who is working just as hard and maybe even harder to beat you. So don't get too comfortable. For the other person who won, it's saying, if we put in the work, if we work hard enough, then no matter who is there or the obstacles that we face, that we can overcome them. So by all means, we ought to enjoy or to celebrate every single moment that we have been afforded.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our devotional this morning. Our devotional is brought to us by M&M Construction for all your construction needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. And of course, the lady Susan Long comes up next.
Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine. Your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
Good morning. This is day 26. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians chapter 6 verse 7. Count on It, written by Richard DeHaan. A children's book called The Chance World describes an imaginary planet where everything happens unpredictably. For example, the sun might rise one day or it might not, and it might appear at any hour. Some days the moon might come up in its place. One day you might jump up and not come down. And the next day find gravity so strong you can't even lift your feet. Scottish biologist Henry Drummond commented that in such a place where natural law was non-existent, reason would be impossible. It would become a lunatic world with a population of lunatics. We should be thankful for the dependability of the natural laws that the Creator has set in motion. They are a great benefit to us if we recognize and respect them. If we violate those laws, however, we will suffer the consequences. That is also true of God's spiritual laws, such as the one in today's text. The person who ignores God's standards and caters to sinful appetites can expect destruction, but the person who follows the leading of the Holy Spirit will experience the blessings of everlasting life. God's laws never fail. For better or worse, you will reap what you sow, count on it. Surer than autumn's harvests are harvests of thought and deed, like those that our hands have planted. The yield will be like the seed. Our quote this morning reads, when we sow seeds of sin, we can count on a harvest of judgment. End quote.
Do you have a talent for singing, playing an instrument, spoken word, or dance? Then this is your moment. Cayman's Got Talent Season 1 is here. And for our first season, we are putting the spotlight on gospel. Selected participants will be featured at the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on October 25, 2025. But hurry, the final date for registration is September 30. To register, email us at info@flashpointmedia.ky or WhatsApp 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your talent and be part of something special. Cayman Got Talent.
Cayman Got Talent this morning right here in the Grand Cayman Islands, and we are indeed blessed to have this feature coming up on the September 25 right here in the Grand Cay. Yeah. Cayman.
Maggie G, are you seeing Lady Elisa?
Am I?
She moved it. I was wondering what is her hand on her. She has her hand on her head. Okay.
Welcome. What's everybody's name? I'm Danny. My pronouns are she and her.
Hold on. We are going to do this. We are getting that in, Lady Elise, in the yes. All right. We are trying to get that out. Let's fix that. All right. Welcome back. All right. Let's do it. All right, we want to present this feature, Curly Karen. So this morning, we are, it's Family Friday, so we talk about family and the things that affect family. The things that affect family is so wide and vast. You talked a little bit about mental health earlier on this morning, right? And so with the mental health that you spoke about, it's not a simple thing, It's really a big thing on the market right now. Mental health is a thing.
Wait for it, listeners. Wait for it. You're gonna hear Mikey G's version and his spin on this. So,
no, but I'm saying to you, well, I'm telling you that most of the churches now have more mental health practitioners than pastors.
Huh?
Because that is really what's affecting Christians, mental health. And so I realize that we have so much more counselors than more preachers and teachers of the word in the Christian realm. And I watch the emerging appreciation of more people getting into that sort of thing within Christianity. Even as I'm watching it. It's something that I'm paying attention to, because somehow the therapists know more than God and God's ministers of the gospel. I don't know how, but it's something that I'm watching. Now, it is not true for everybody, I don't know, but I have watched this thing and I'm seeing it growing. So let's watch together now. All right. So mental health is a big thing, and so we no longer can spot when something is gone off the rocker. So I'm going to ask the question: demon possession or God's intention? All right, let's ask the question at this point. All right, ladies, let it rip.
Welcome. What's everybody's name? I'm Danny. My pronouns are she and her.
Sid, my pronouns are they and them. I'm Margot, pronouns Z and Zer.
I'm Penelope. My thoughts are huh and what?
All right. I thought I would share that little gas bag with you this morning. Yeah, you can take it off the screen for me. Then. Take it out. I thought I'd share that little gas bag with you this morning. But, I thought I'd share that little gas bag with you this morning. I thought I would share that one with you. Lady Curly, Lady Elise, what's your thought on it?
The last.
And what I am and what I should bring to this lesson, man. I have to go to class to find that out.
Absolutely.
This is a real thing, right? It's a now, we're talking about the Gen Z story and it's Gen X and all these things. And the question was where these things come from, because I don't remember none of these things when I was growing up, But somehow somebody placed a label on somebody and some people. And this is the nonsense that comes from it. Now, is this demon possession or God-centered?
Well, I will preface my response by saying I'm no authority on it, but I will jump right in and say, well, you know what? From an objective standpoint, going back to mental health, it could very well be grounded in exactly that. People are not mentally conscious of what's happening with and to them. And so they're grappling with or for whatever it is that not even makes sense, because it really doesn't.
All right.
But it's maybe for the controversy of it. Sometimes I wonder if people do it because they want to spark a discussion.
No, people got lost. People lost their jobs for these things, for misgendering and people. Big thing. It's a big thing, not a joke thing.
Agreed.
I watched a young man selling insurance, and one of the many questions he have to ask, even after talking to a man or a woman, sir, are you a male or female? Are you a man? What, he has to ask the question even after talking to the man, and many times while I'm not hearing the conversation that is happening on the other side of the line, I could see him saying, I know you're a male, but I have to ask these questions. And I could hear the reprimand of the older gentleman, because you're selling insurance, like health insurance to old people, because most times old people benefit. And so you are looking at an old man who knows it is. How would you not know that I'm a man? What makes you not think so? And I could hear that. But this is something that we are looking at in the 21st century, 2025. This is what we are looking at in equality, Karen.
Yeah, but it doesn't. And I'm there with you. And what it says, well, is that people they've lost sight of their self-awareness, is what it is. And it's interesting to see how it has, as you mentioned, how deep and wide it has gone, because most forms now gives the option to, do you want to declare, are you other, are you he, she, they, them. So the forms are now facilitating that line of argument. And so it says to me, certainly, that we are pivoting, we are adjusting ourselves to it. It doesn't, in my view, make it right. But then who are the voices, or where are the voices that are standing up against it? And how strong are they? And as you mentioned, are they strong enough that people want to silence them?
But I know, because I would always argue the point that Charlie Kirk was one of those persons who stood up. And it is frightening to see that the church itself is not having the conversation. And the church is not having a conversation blatantly with the 10 toes down, saying that these things are nonsense. The church is having a conversation. Most churches are having a conversation with that we are inclusive. It's not to point out ridiculousness and to point out the devil's intention of corrupting, right? And so what we are looking at, we have Gen X Christianity now, or Gen Z's Christianity. And so we have what we call a Gen X or Gen Z Christianity within our ranks, and that's what we are having. Now, Christianity, that is supposed to be the full foundation and structure of the family, because this is how it works. The family actually makes up the churches, right? But the church is the foundation of biblical principles for the family, right? Which means that there are spiritual aspects that comes back to the family from the church's organizational perspective, which there are priests within the church, or there are bishops within the church who would direct the word of God and the intent of the word of God for families and be clear. So the church becomes the salt of the earth, and then it becomes the family units of many that affects the wider society. But what you're looking at is that the society has crept into the church so much that the church no longer have the capacity to differentiate itself from the world's perspective.
A question that comes to mind, Mikey G, is there an element of fear? So you mentioned earlier that persons have lost their jobs for not acknowledging the narrative around gender.
Yes.
And so is there an element of, I don't want to upset the apple cart, I'm afraid of
Is the same? Yes.
oceans?
Yes.
Is it that
Yes.
we have, you know, there's the story of the gentleman who was building his bar and across from the church, and the church prayed and it got burnt down. The man sued the church, and the judge was in a quandary, because the question he asked is it that the man, the bar owner, believed in God and the church people didn't? Because, and so I made reference to that story to say, is it that we're like the Israelites in front of Goliath, that we are coward?
Well, I would go with this one.
The might that it represents.
I would say this to you quickly. What you're looking at is clearly a case of Aaron and Moses after going up to Sinai to collect the 10 Commandments. And the people came up to Aaron, the priest, and told him to build a golden calf. So what we are looking at is most of our ministers building golden calves within the church body, to appease the members and not standing up for God's truth. But a Moses will come. And Moses will turn up and will destroy that golden calf with all those persons who want to worship it. You understand? Yeah. And so when we look at it, we ask the simple question: is it God's centered or demon possession? And I would want to say to you, you would have to make the judge of that. If it's not God, if you're not God possessed, or in this sense, if you're not God indwelling, God within you, who's indwelling in you when you have these operations, when you're behaving in this way, right? That's just my question on it. And so we have found that we are in the middle of genderizing our churches right now to fit the world's narrative. We have a lot of errands running God's church.
So the question that you ask about demon possession.
But that's it. But what happened then? If when the people want to worship Baal, who is controlling the people? God or the devil?
Well, I know you're beginning to have a reputation, Mike G and Corey Karen, that when we start on Friday, you remember that we have one more video.
All right, run the video, Lady Elise. Run the video. All right, this one, hold on. This one is the icebreaker. That was the icebreaker. We want to talk about it, to see mental health being promoted within God's church. Because I don't talk outside the world. What the world does is perfectly fine, because the devil controls it. So it's okay. You understand what I'm saying? But when God's people operate in the same way, that's where the problem comes. All right, let's run it, Lady Elise. Run the track. All right, so let me do the disclaimer first before you run it. This disclaimer is this. that we are not suggesting that this story is factual and true, because we are just using it as an example of what's happening in our world today, and these are many stories that we have seen already that are factual and true, not necessarily that this one is so. So let's use this as an example of what's happening within our world based on the conversation we're having. So let's run this track.
Texas-based Ghanaian pastor has reportedly unalived his transgender wife after their wedding night. Allegedly, according to reports, the pastor didn't have any idea that the woman that he married was actually transgender, and some of his congregation actually knew about this and never disclosed that information with him. According to reports, the police authorities have arrested and detained the Ghanaian-born Texas-based pastor, whose name has been given as Isaac because they didn't want to share his full information. And the reason why he found out after their wedding night is because they were waiting to be intimate until marriage. He's a pastor, hence in the Christianity religion, you have to wait till you get married in order to be intimate with your partner. So they waited, hence he had no idea, according to reports, that the woman that he married is actually a transgender woman, and she kept it from him, so he had no idea until he discovered it for himself. And it's very unfortunate to hear the story, because it could have been prevented. The unaliving would have been prevented if they were honest with each other, or at least the congregation, the people that knew about the situation, because apparently she was part of the church. So, he thought he knew this person, and when he realized that the person he married is actually not who he thought it was, he unalived the person. And this is not the first story we heard when it comes to people keeping their gender or their transition with their partners, and they tell them very late or after they've been together for a long time. And that really is not just a betrayal to that other person, they need to know, but also in this case, he's a pastor, meaning he has his own beliefs and faith, and probably everyone knew. Maybe that's why, the wife kept that a secret, because she knew he would leave her. Yeah, it's sad that someone lost their life over it. She could have found someone that could appreciate the way she is and where she comes from. But then to keep it a secret and expect someone else to just accept it after you're married is also not the way to go.
I see a lot of news on it actually, happening five months ago. A lot saying that, yes. So we have to just go back into, and this is what you call a crime of passion then, because then,
it's so unfortunate on different levels.
Yeah.
And it speaks to, I don't even know where to start. Because trust, if you are in a relationship, you're expecting, that's basic. He's going to make an assumption based on what he sees. And if you know otherwise, the onus is on you to have a discussion. Do not make a decision for the other person, which is exactly what happened in this case, because the trans person determined that the information was not material enough to share with the person. But and then look at what happened.
What is that line though? I guess as a pastor, does one expect more forgiving nature? Is it a fact that how far would you extend your forgiveness, or do you expect one person to be closer to God than the other person? Said, listen, despite the fact that you were dishonest with me, and I'm upset at this point, I am just going to walk away from the situation, and these are the reasons. But anger, or because then it wouldn't be a situation where you're you're feeling ashamed, so you don't want to now go and say, listen, this is what happened to me, or I don't know. I mean, look at in the Bible, Joseph would have entertained. He could have put away Mary silently. Wasn't that the conversation? I could have said,
except though that Joseph knew. Joseph knew what he was getting into. He was advised beforehand that this is the situation, and he was encouraged to, and absolutely, he could have chosen not to,
yes,
but he was given the choice.
Well, what we are looking at here is a clear case of Sodom. And sodomy. And so what you look at is this is what you call a sodomite. In the fullest sense that not that the person lived in Sodom and is a sodomite, as is like a Jamaican, because sodomites are just what the people of the country was called, They were not different people. It's like the people of Sodom was called sodomites because they live in Sodom.
Mm-hmm.
But then Sodom and Gomorrah, so Gomorrahans were there as well. But then Sodom was the place that most of the activity of this nature operated from. So Sodom was highlighted, so it was like a capital city for the township or that segment, right? But what you're looking at is someone who. So I would ask the question to our listening audience and our viewers: is this someone who is operating on Satan's premise to deceive the pastor?
Oh well, there you go.
Because I am not going to give my own. Sorry, Lady Corley.
I'm saying that the word deceive answers your question.
Yes. So the deception, is it that this is a devil's act of deception? Because clearly they are calling this person a woman, which clearly it's not a woman, it's a man, dress up as a woman and transform himself as a woman, but a man still. I could not be calling that person a man, a woman.
Exactly.
No matter how much. But here's the story for you. There was a church, Hollywood church. I remember some story broke some time ago of a transgender man went changed to a woman, or transgender, I'm not sure, or transgender woman changed to a man. I think it's a woman it changed to. I'm not remembering the story very well. But also was as one of those church teachers. Was one of the some Sabbath school teachers, something. I don't know what it was at the time. But there's a story about it many years ago. I can go dig it up and bring it back. And so I asked the question that this person who is a transgender, and it was allowed to be the Sabbath school teacher or something within that. I want to dig up the story and bring it back so we don't make false assertions here and say something that is not so. And the question I asked was, this person is going to need to get married at some point. This person is going to want to fall in love at some point. And so, who will this person fall in love with? The bigger question is, in this case, who will this person fall in love with? I'm Curly Karen. I'm just asking you. Just for emphasis. Just who? Will it be a male or female?
I would say it is baffling my mind, because if you were one thing and you have changed to another, and in your Christian walk, the expectation is that you're going to be with the opposite sex, then where does that leave you?
No. What is it that they're doing? Is it homosexuality?
Well, and that's the thing. I will have to think it through some more, because. All
right.
So here's where I'm struggling with it, Mikey G.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where I'm struggling. The person would have found Christ.
Yes.
Would have accepted the errors of his or her way. So similar to a liar who coming into having had an encounter with God is no longer lying. This person was gay or had a lifestyle that was outside of the permit of Christ and has now converted. Where's the grace in that? And
the grace for what?
That would have been extended to the person who has been restored.
You mean the transgender person who is now a transgender person who remains a woman within the organization or the congregation, and she came to God and she is baptized, or he is baptized as a woman, and is living there and attending the congregation, the temple of God, as a woman. People are referring to him as a woman, but he is a born again Christian as a woman but a man. Is that what you're saying?
I think well, for me, I think the first thing that that person would need to do, outside of the redemptive element of it, is to declare who or what he or it, to declare themselves.
Then the question is asked.
I am so and so. So it has to be public.
But why would it have to be public?
That's the question. No. Do anybody who is a thief or something?
Because on the face of it, there is a difference. So I may look at this point to be female, but I didn't start out that way. And so by virtue of the obvious not being the reality, I owe the duty to the congregation, I believe, to say this is what has happened. Because in this case where the person, there were other persons in the church who knew, I wouldn't fault them for not speaking to the pastor, because the expectation is that the individual, if they have reached to the level of commitment, of becoming one, that the expectation is that it's your story. You need to be the one to tell the person who you're getting married to.
Where's that line of communication drawn, and whose responsibility is it? Because then the church members go and say, and the fact is, as you said, Corley, Karen, the responsibility lies with her or him. With him, lies with him.
Stop calling the man a him or her, because he's not a woman. He's a man dressed up and transition into a woman. Now, you have to be careful of that. I have to be careful, because I'm not going to refer to someone who is a man, and no matter what transition they do as a him.
I don't know.
I am not going to do it. I'm sorry, I am not going to do it. So I am already saying that, and before I do that, I don't talk to you at all. I'm not doing it.
Some things can't be undone. But it's a time for the news, Mikey G. It's news time.
Here is what I want to say before we go, Lady Elisa, and we can close the conversation like this. Is that we have found ourselves in a very interesting situation right now. The question I would leave us with is this: should the person, after coming to Christ, remain as a transition person that they transition into, or should they, because they have come to Christ, realizing their error, would reverse the process and start dressing like a man instead of a woman to further deceive more people? Now that's the question on the table. Is it devil's demon possession that continues the process, or would you do what is right and change yourself back to who you're supposed to be, because now God has entered your life? Now that's a question that can be answered by just about anyone, and I'd suggest that's just where I'd leave the conversation. Of course, for the person who lost their life, nobody wants to see anybody get injured or anything. But for the purpose of your own safety, as the person said on the thing, go to people who actually like the idea of what you're doing, and leave persons who don't want it. Because if that happened, this is where it is. In the olden days, or in some places, stoning would be natural. So the man doing that to the person would not be something bad. I don't want to hear that you should create any violence on anyone. You see?
Mikey G, you said you were going to ask the question and leave it there.
No, but I'm saying how dangerous the thing is. I'm only saying how dangerous it is. In some territories, a stoning would be the appropriate action. But I'm saying I'm not advocating for any violence on anyone.
You're removing your objectivity from the question by answering it.
I didn't answer it. I'm asking persons to say what they believe and what they think. Ladies,
yes, it's time for a short break.
Yes,
we head over to the news.
Of course, yes, it's time for our news, and of course, we want to thank our audience this morning.
One and Up now has ARA, DHA, and prebiotics. It's the new, smarter formula. The time by Lasco One and Up is?
It is now 12 minutes to 9 on the AM.
It is Friday, September 26th, and these are the news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. I'm Coralie Karen. New shipping link with Jamaica. Cayman's food supply chain is getting a boost. Seaboard Marine Limited has launched a new refrigerated consolidated service between Kingston, Jamaica and Grand Cayman. The bi-weekly service, which began on 17th September, delivers cargo within 36 hours and allows multiple Jamaican exporters to share container space while keeping produce fresh. Seaboard Jamaica CEO Cora and Robertson Sylvester says the service is designed for smaller exporters of fruits, vegetables, juices, baked goods, and even pharmaceuticals, helping Cayman retailers cut storage costs and source fresher produce. With the majority of Cayman's food imports still coming through the United States, officials hope this move will strengthen regional trade and reduce reliance on U.S. ports. Jamaican exports to Cayman have already been growing at over 20% a year since 2018. Healthcare Conference. More than 300 medical professionals are expected at a major conference today at Hotel Indigo Grand Cayman. Hosted by Doctors Hospital and Integra Healthcare, the event titled Frontiers of Healthcare 2025, Building Resilient Healthcare Systems, will feature international experts and local specialists discussing dementia, cancer, medical imaging, and the future of healthcare in Cayman. Health Minister Catherine Ebanks-Wilkes and Premier Andre Ebanks will open the conference, while Governor Jane Owen will join attendees at lunchtime. HSA Board under scrutiny. The Health Services Authority Board is facing criticism after records revealed it met 190 times over 18 months, paying nearly $500,000 in stipends. That's a sharp rise compared to just 13 meetings held in 2016-2017. Critics, including MP Chris Saunders, argue the level of pay, sometimes exceeding $10,000 a month for individual members, cannot be justified, especially as the hospital struggles with staffing resources. The HSA board insists the meetings were necessary due to complex legal cases and international accreditation requirements. They point to increased revenue, clean audits, and more Caymanians employed as outcomes during the period. Student internships. 16 Caymanian University students gained real-world experience this summer through the Ministry of Education's paid internship program. The placements, coordinated by the National Training and Development Unit, spanned industries from law and media to hospitality and utilities. Program Manager Kimon Chambers says the initiative helps students build networks, develop skills, and transition confidently into the workplace. Restaurant Month. October means Restaurant Month, and this year's celebration is bigger than ever. A record 58 restaurants will participate, offering special 3-course lunch and dinner menus, plus Sunday brunches across the island. Organizers at the Cayman Islands Tourism Association says the program not only gives residents and visitors affordable access to Cayman's culinary scene, but also supports restaurants ahead of the busy winter season. Crime update. Police have charged a 33-year-old West Bay man following a shooting incident on School Road earlier this month. He faces charges including attempted robbery, wounding with intent, and possession of a firearm, along with drug-related offenses. The arrest followed a police chase on Frank Sound Road, during which the suspect allegedly threw packages of ganja from his vehicle before being detained. And now to regional news. Guyana and the U.S. Guyana's President Ephraim Ali met with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly this week. The two reaffirmed strong U.S.-Guyana ties, with talks focusing on security, economic development, and regional stability. The U.S. pledged continued support for Guyana's defense force and praised its leadership role in supporting Haiti. In Jamaica, the head of the Planning Institute says artificial intelligence could help the country achieve its Vision 2030 development goals. Dr. Wayne Henry says AI can boost productivity across sectors from agriculture to tourism, but warned of risks including job displacement and data privacy concerns. He called for the education system to adapt so the workforce is prepared for the AI-driven future. And in international news, U.S. government shutdown threat. President Donald Trump has warned that a government shutdown could begin next week if Democrats and Republicans fail to agree on spending plans. The White House has gone further, instructing federal agencies to prepare for mass firings if no deal is reached before the 30th of September deadline. Shutdowns have become a regular feature in Washington politics, but this latest standoff raises fears of widespread layoffs and service disruptions. That's your breakfast hour news update. Please continue to stay tuned throughout the day.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
All right. Welcome back. Good morning once again. If you're just joining us, where have you been? Breakfast hour is almost out. We're almost done. I want to say thank you for joining us this morning. But before we go, we're having a concert on the weekend. Of course, Lady Kalindra Radwika is having one of those concerts this weekend, and so I want to feature this one. It is indeed a well needed and need to support event. It's on the 28th of September at 6:30 p.m. and I'm suspecting it is going to be at the Lion Center. So tickets are available right now. Of course, VIP tickets are as follows: $50 VIP, $25 for adults, and of course $10 for children, and $30 at the gate regular fee if you come late. So please, guys, pick up your tickets at all ticket outlets right now. Of course, tickets are on Ticket Event Pro and at the Cayman Islands Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. And so Kalinja Rodriguez is in concert at the Lion Center coming up this weekend, and I'm on the 28th, of course, of September, this weekend. And so please, guys, go out and support this worthy cause. I will tell you, the team is going to be out there. We're going to be making sure that we buy a few of those VIP tickets to get the rack up the cost, so she gets a good yield on the monetary value. Of course, it is for a good for a worthy cause. It is going towards education, of course, tuition fee of the to be paid. So I believe that we should all jump in and do this one. It's necessary. And don't fool yourself. Kalinja is an excellent performer. She is a beautiful singer. Her voice is melodious, harmonious, and I don't know what genre of music she cannot sing or style. I'm telling you, I got a chance to sit down at one of the events. I remember we were having a send-off for a principal of one of our local high school, primary schools in Grand Cayman some years ago. And she was the guest artist or guest performer. And I'm telling you, she went from one performance to another in such a classy way. And I'm telling you, Kalinja is indeed a special, talented and blessed individual. And of course, we need to keep her in our prayers, and of course, keep her in and support her. Ensure that you come out of your pockets, go into your pockets, and come up with the money to give to her. That's what I'm asking for this morning. Money. We want the money. The Bible says, money answer it all. Apologize for my I keep saying money, and I say money. I have to say money a little louder, right? So money answer it all. So yes, give towards this worthy cause. Of course, remember that Flashpoint is also having their concert on the 25th of October. Not just a concert, but we are launching Cayman Got Talent at our annual event called Point of Praise. All right? So please also look out for that one coming up. But remember, this weekend, Kalindra is on the market, on the chart. Please support this event. It starts at 6:30 p.m. on the 28th of September, right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. All right, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me this morning for this edition of the Breakfast Hour. It is indeed a wonderful morning. We talked about so many things. I left a little food for thought. I made my own suggestions and my own statements. Please, guys, I'm not advocating any violence on anyone. Please, don't take my G out of context. But my conversation is always going to be, it's a bad thing for someone to do those evils to you. Now, I don't know what possessed one person to decide that they don't want to be who they are. That's all right. Nothing is wrong with that. But you don't have to ask me to participate in it. That's the point I'm making. And you can't make laws that I must participate as well. You want to do it? Find persons who want to do it with you and do that. That's fine. Nothing is wrong with that. And I believe that every man have a right to his own destiny. Nothing is wrong with that. But then for the Christian population, how do we navigate this though? Because it is the Gen X or whatever the name of these people you're labeling the young people at with this, and you're bringing Gen X religion now. How do you navigate this? Is our God Gen X as well? Do we serve a Gen X God? Are the Jews Gen X's? Do we have any Gen X Jews? I don't know. I don't know. I would ask that question first, but we have a lot of Gen X Christians. I don't know if that's happening, but food for thought for this morning. It's Family Friday, guys. Families, pay attention. If you are Christian families, which I'm only talking to Christian families now, and this is the mandate for Christian families. Persons who do not buy into Christianity, I don't know what you want to do with this information, but use it as you will. But I'm specifically talking to Christian families who have the responsibility of God's light on this world and God's truth on this world. I want to say, dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand alone, dare to be a Charlie Kirk, dare to stand alone. I am not saying that Charlie Kirk conversations are all of them are aligned with me. I do not say that all the conversations are, but I can pick where the alignment comes, and it aligns at some places where Christianity is and what Christians should stand up for. I am not seeing the alignment too badly off where that is concerned, because he believes in the Sabbath, and he believes that man is man and woman is woman. He believes that life is precious and that you shouldn't just want to just kill your children because you can. And these are things that we have been battling with, and the church don't have a position on it. Many churches do not have a position on it anymore. They don't know what they believe. And so it is what the principle of the church was born on. But now we see people flipping and flapping and don't even have a clue where you are now. And it is bothering me. And so I align these persons who claim to be Latter-day Saints or preachers. I align them as not as the prophet Moses, but as the prophet's brother Aaron, who would build the golden calf to appease the people because they don't have a strong enough backbone to stand up for God's word and what God says you should do. Alright, and I would say that. I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying many of. And there are more. Bible says that when Elijah was saying, Lord, it's only me alone, God said to him, we have 400 more prophets who has never bowed under Baal's statues and Baal's system. We have lots of preachers who have not bowed under Baal's system, and I want you now to stand up, and at the time come, at the appropriate time, you will come out and God will use you. But for those who are errands and are trying to teach the people wrong and appeasing the people, only the grace of God will keep you. And I trust and hope that we can take this as a message. And of course, I am not putting myself as any good person versus bad person and better than anybody. That's one thing I'm never doing. I'm saying that I am every day checking myself. I know that none of us are perfect here. And so I'm not claiming perfection. But we need to use when we are going to be something and see if you are lining up with the word of God, because that's the principle by which you are living. And if it's not lining up, then you must check it. And that's what I've been doing with myself. So every time I slip up, I say, I slip up because, I know, I check the word of God and see that Michael G didn't do nothing right this time. Everything you do wrong, Michael G, check yourself. Alright, having said that, I want to say have yourself a God bless day. Remember, it's all Gospel Friday. Check out Flashpoint Radio. A whole heap of things line up for you all day today. All day today you shall have some wonderful presentations and many, many inspirational thoughts, music, in song, and of course lots of conversations happening right here. Guys, have yourself a God bless day. It is Friday. Remember, the open portal comes up at 6:30 in the PM and Proof comes up at 5 o'clock this evening. Proof is a program produced to tell you about God's word and proving it from the Bible that this is true. Alright, remember, the Sabbath experience with Flashpoint continues into tomorrow at sunset. So remember, Sabbath experience starts at sunset this evening and ends at sunset tomorrow evening. That's how it works. And of course, if you join us for that one, we'll talk a little bit about the Sabbath experience and what it means to actually keep the Sabbath and how to keep it. If you failed last week, let's try to see if we can do better this week. Guys, thank you. Our web radio is at www.flashpointradio.com. flashpointmedia.ky. Our web radio continues all day tomorrow. Lots of strong and of course inspirational information and messages for you. Remember to keep liking and sharing our YouTube, our Facebook, and our Instagram. And you can go right ahead and hit the notification bell now. That whenever time one of these programs comes up, you get it first. Have yourself a God bless day, guys. It's Friday, it's Family Friday, and of course the end of the week. And we are welcoming the weekend, so I'm all set and ready to go. It's a long day for me and the team here at Flashpoint, but we are dedicated to serving you all day, 24 hours. Have yourself a beautiful one. On behalf of myself and Corley, Karen, and Lady Elise, I must say that I can't just leave without saying that. I had a great time this morning. I hope you did too. Food for thought. Please check it out. Leave your comments. Let's hear what you think.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further, away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, we'll all sing better outside. Just us and the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours forever. Are we part of this circus? Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden, but I can't relate. Do our actions
I'm Claude Edwards, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. You know, wherever I travel around the globe, I have access to Flashpoint Radio, and so should you. Flashpoint Radio, in a class all by itself.